Daniel here with Five Star Property Management, and we are just coming to you again with some good information and content. We have Jordan also with us with Development, Five Star Property Management, and today we're going to talk a little bit about just the obvious, what's happening with things around us and our circumstances with the virus, and how it relates to property management, how it relates to tenants and owners, and what are some things, what are some solutions and things that we can do to help people navigate through that. And so, Jordan, just wanted to kind of send it over to you for a little bit, see what you think, if anything on your mind, or have you been thinking a lot about what's been going on with this whole virus thing?
Of course, yeah, it's hard to not think about it. And that's one of the great things is that we're all in this together, and that Five Star is really buckling down and meeting everybody right where they're at, whether it's from the tenant or from the property owner perspective, or even from future investors. And so I know that you've been really digging deep, because as the leader of Five Star, you're really trying to get out in front and give everybody that peace and assurance. And you've been looking into a few different items, mainly for the tenant side, to give them a little bit of peace, talking about the small business loans and just some opportunities. Why don't you inform us about that?
Yeah, so obviously, as we're watching the news, we're seeing a lot that's happening and what's going down with the economy and things like that. And you know, as a property manager, obviously, we get paid when rents get collected, obviously, and that's a primary part of our business in which we generate income. But not only that, you look at owners and thinking they still have mortgages that have to be paid. You're looking at tenants, and tenants are like, well, I'm losing my job, or my boss has laid me off, you know. And so as a property manager, we have a lot of things spinning through our heads at this time, thinking, oh my goodness, how are we going to keep this whole ball together, in a sense?
Yeah.
And so looking at it, you know, the biggest thing is that obviously we want to put as many people's minds at ease during this thing. Now, obviously, this is not an isolated event. It's not happening just to a certain group of people. It's the entire economy, and it's things that are beyond our control. And so people need to understand that. And obviously the government understands that as well. And they're obviously trying to stay in the forefront of this thing and trying to stay on top of it by offering these relief packages and things. But I've been getting calls from some tenants.
Yeah.
Hey, you know, is there any kind of rent, is there any kind of rent rebate, or is there any kind of forbearance on rent and things like that? And I'm telling them, because I'm looking right at I'm watching my news just like everyone else is. And I'm saying at this point, the government has not given any kind of directive to any forbearance on mortgage payments and things like that. So I sent out an email to my owner saying, hey, listen, if you guys hear anything different, let me know. But at this point, I'm letting the tenants know that they're still responsible for their rent. Now, with that being said, obviously there has to be a level of grace given to people and things like that. From a Five Star perspective, Five Star Property Management perspective, we decided company-wide, we're not charging late fees. We're not charging any penalties. These are charges that we collect and we get to keep in-house because of our efforts to collect. We just flat out said, you know what, we're not charging tenants any late fees for the month of April. We're not going to give them any penalties, nothing like that. Obviously, things like foreclosures, I'm sorry, it's not foreclosures, evictions, all those things have been halted. The courts are not even meeting. And so things like that have already taken place, where, you know, people can't be evicted, things like that. So as a company, we decided, what can we do to help the tenants? And so I started looking into it, and I started looking and see a lot of my tenants are small business owners, and small businesses are getting hit the most in this whole thing. We're seeing, you know, hairdressers, you know, we're seeing small business operators that are 1 or 2 person operations that are no longer allowed to even go to their office because they're not considered, quote, an essential business. And so with that being said, I think, man, what can we do to try to help them out? Well, the government has actually set up some pretty good fail safes, I guess you want to call it, for the small business owner. Then they're unleashing the $2 trillion stimulus bill, which is directly going to affect small businesses. And so there is a process. If you are a small business owner, there are things that you can do. You can start applying for this stimulus package for your business. And in most cases, portions of the loan, if not all of it, are forgivable if you keep your employees employed. And so basically what it comes down to is the government will forward you, or they will front you 2.5 months of payroll. So you can still continue to pay your employees and things like that.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's really great information. It's an easy application process. I've had one of my neighbors already apply. You know, you obviously got to have your financials to be able to give them and things like that. But I believe that's taken effect this Friday. They're going to start taking applications for that small business loan. And like I said, as long as you keep the employee and don't lay them off after you get this money from the government, that it will most likely be forgivable. So you have to look into some guidelines, and we do have some information we'll share with you guys. I'll send you some links, Jordan, so you could post them.
Yeah.
And it'd be very useful, helpful information. But you know, we're doing that to help our tenants, you know, because our
Yeah.
tenants ultimately are going to help our owners. And you know, in the whole grand scheme of things, at the end of the day, as a property manager, my job is to solve problems, to help solve
Yeah.
problems as much as I can. And so that's kind of where we're at, Jordan, with that. Is we're looking at this not just, hey, what's in it for me? How can I protect myself? But how can we help the tenants, who in turn are going to help the owners, who in turn are going to help the economy in the long run? So that's kind of where we're at with this. And it seems to be, so far, we've had a lot of appreciative tenants. I also have gone through, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to keep rambling on, but there's just so much content here. We've also went through and helped some tenants find jobs. There's a lot of temporary jobs that are starting to pop up. The SBA, and when I say SBA, I mean Small Business Association. They are currently hiring call center people to help field these calls from these small business owners on how to maneuver through the process of getting these loans. And so I've had one client, I have two clients that I gave the link to. I have a friend who actually had a small business. She had a hair salon. She had to close down. And obviously she's, you know, a single mother. She needs to work and pay the bills. And so basically she found out that the SBA was hiring. She got a job. She's working 8-hour shifts now from home and as a customer service representative. And I think she said they're paying like $15 an hour. So
Wow.
it's not long-term, but you know, hey, if it happens for the next couple months, 2 or 3 months, until they can get things back on their feet again, it's a great opportunity. So.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity that you're doing, you know, what Five Star's doing in general. I know that me and you, we talk about it all the time in our team meetings about leading with empathy. And this is just an opportunity that really sets Five Star and really speaks to who Five Star is, where that name comes from, and what really we're trying to provide, not only to the property owners in making sure, you know, hey, we understand we want to be able to collect rent, but there's a right way to do it. And then at the same time to the tenant, we want to be able to speak and meet them right where they are, because they're families or individuals, and they're going through this just like all of us. And so it's a great thing that you're doing, Daniel. We really appreciate the information, and we hope that everybody, you know, looks and follows it on YouTube, follows it on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter. And if there's any topics or anything that you guys would like us to field or address in the next week, feel free to leave us a comment. So Daniel, thank you again. We look forward to catching up again next week.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, Jordan. Good talking to
Thank
you.
you. Bye-bye.